Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
Yo, what's up, brother and sister bears? Another episode of The Porcupine. How are you? I am Adam Nutter. You guys know that. Please go follow me on social media. Actually, just Twitter. I don't give a shit about anything else. Follow me on Twitter at Adam Nutter. Go listen to my other podcasts. I do my comedy podcast. I do with the great Neil Wood. No politics, just comedy. I promise. We just may try to make you laugh. That's a Cult of Us. YouTube.com/Cult of Us. Go buy a shirt, please. Droptent.com/store for your Porcupine shirts. And then I'll be on the road, so just follow my social media for that. But the next closest show that I want to plug really is just September 10th, Pop In, Chalfont, Pennsylvania, our monthly show we run. Coming out to that. Then October, I think the week before Halloween, like the 21st, that weekend, I'll be in Orlando, Florida at their version of Freedom Fest or whatever the fuck they want to call it. It's the Florida version of Freedom. It's crazy. Probably murder. It's illegal. It's like fucking murder. But I'll be down there doing comedy. So check that out. Tickets will be up there soon. But enough about me. On to our guest for this. It's going to be a fun one. I try to pack up some other funny dudes. So the co-host of the Boring Podcast, Mr. Brian McWilliams. What's up, brother bear?
What's happening? Just living life. I was at a bachelor party this past weekend, so you can probably tell I'm still slightly hungover because I'm an old man now. But dude, great to be on. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And maybe the most popular libertarian on TikTok, Mr. Andy Koons. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. I was at a bachelor party like a week ago in Virginia Beach, which was annoying because we just drove down 6 hours and everybody just drank in the house, and then no one went to the beach one time.
So wait, what did you do in the house then? That I need to know. So you drank and then what?
We had sex with each other. We just fucked.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's very progressive.
I don't drink. Right, so I'm just sitting down there the whole time, like just smoking weed, which is like whatever. And they're all fucking drunk off their fucking face. My friend who's getting married, he fell asleep on the porch the first 2 nights, just outside, and we rented a house.
Wait, is that the guy you fucked?
Yeah, well,
everybody fucked him. Bears fucked him at that point. He's sleeping on the porch. Random people from the neighborhood.
Yeah, that was on him. That was on him.
That's if you want to find that ring camera porn, that's Adam's new sub video podcast.
And then we were like a block and a half from the beach, literally like a block and a half from the beach. And we walked down to the beach our first day there, like, oh, there's a beach. And then never saw it again. Never even stepped on the sand of the fucking beach. I was like, we could have done this in Jersey, guys. Like,
was it literally just something where like you guys drank? Like, were you up so late and just hung over the entire time where the beach just was like, it's just too much. It's too much sun on a hungover body.
It was so I would like to say sure. Right, that's at least a better reasoning than everybody's just fat and lazy and didn't want to walk 5 blocks in a vicinity around us. Like, we want to go to like this breakfast joint that one of the guys offered to pay for everybody. He's like, yeah, I'll pay for everybody. Let's go. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. And they're like, how far is it? I'm like, it's 4 blocks that way. They're like, can we drive? I'm like, yo, fuck you guys. This is gonna be the worst trip weekend ever. Because everybody's fucking fat.
My people.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I had a quasi similar experience in that we, basically just sat around the house. But we were up in Yosemite, which is, it's like about a 4.5 hour drive from Los Angeles from that. Which again, driving is awful, especially when you're hungover. It's a horrible drive there, worst drive back. But we went to the lake the one day, this thing called Bass Lake, where they just, if you have a driver's license, you can just take a boat out and you're allowed to drive it around. They don't ask if you have any experience with offboard motors. No, nothing. Just go take it. Don't go too fast. But they had a rope swing. And we were like, all right, we got to go to this rope swing. That's where we're all drinking. We're hungover after the first night. Go to the rope swing. First time, no problem. Go right off it. Jump off like a champion, like a Tarzan. Second time I go up there, I'm overthinking it. Get up, and I'm like, God, I'm tall. I'm like 6'3", so I try to pull myself up in this rope swing so I don't smash my ass into the dirt and rocks and tree gnarls that are sticking out. totally fucking beef it, smash my kneecaps going down, and then just get the one. It's like every YouTube video of a rope fail you've ever seen, or it's like my knees hit the side of the hill, and it's a good 25 feet drop. And I'm like, oh shit! So I'm hanging on. I lose my grip on the rope and just face plant at 90 miles an hour straight into the water. And then after that, I didn't want to go anywhere else. I just wanted to sit around.
Dude, it's like chicks felt that from 90 miles away, even in their pussies dried up from how uncool that was.
Their pussies sucked lake water up to make up for the lack of wetness. I was like, God, I swear this lake was a foot higher all the way around.
Like, the shoreline's receding. Everyone's wondering
right.
there's a tsunami or something.
It's just
I was gonna say no, not a tsunami. Brian's just fucking lame as fuck.
The sad thing was nobody got it on video. They got me doing the good one and not the bad one. And all I want, if it happened to me and it was funny, that's the one I want. Like, I want the painful one. I went through the pain. Give me the payoff of being able to share this video of me getting face fucked by a lake.
There's no cool way of pulling that off either. Like, there's no cool way of pulling off a massive, essentially. It's like a swinging fall. It's like it's like if you fall standing, that's already hard. When you try to do the grab for everything, that's embarrassing enough. Like, just fall. It's like, just go over it. But like, if you're fucking like falling off a swing, it's like everybody can see. It's like time. It's like a progression. It's played. It's like longer than just the fall standing. It's like there's more embarrassment to it. It sucks.
Yep. Everybody at the lake, all the locals know to watch this rope swing, to watch assholes like me fail on it too. So they're all like, there is an audience. The only way to play it off too after you do it, I think, would just be if I could really hold my breath just to go under the water and just swim away
to a
into
shark's
the
mouth. Dickie said, "Dan, didn't know you were having Sally Agger stuff." So having you guys on, particularly, especially, I want to talk about just a little bit about comedy and culture in today's world also and stuff, but like not so much like stand-up comedy, just like the sense of humor as a country. I mean, I mean like individual comics or individual jokes. I mean like the actual humor and I feel like there's no nuance anymore. There's no gray area. Everything's just fucking black and white. And that's my dog going crazy for my sister-in-law. Sorry. It's just everything's just fucking very black and white. And there's no room to be like, but you get the dark side of this joke, right? Like, that's it. Now it's like a cancelable thing. So obviously a bunch of comics here, or I mean, Andy, you were open mic, but you still are a comedic guy. What is your take on like where we're going with this? Like, is this a rebound? Like, think we could turn around and be funny again as a country, or is that gone?
I totally think we can bounce back from this because from what I can tell, and this might just be in my little like TikTok bubble, but like the sense of humor on TikTok has kind of been nerfed just in the last like year that I've like had the app, in the last like 7 or 8 months that I've been actually making content on there. And I think that has way more to do with the like TikTok company than the actual content creators. Because when you first got on there, like it was like you could get away with some wild shit. And I remember getting on and like, yeah, there's a bunch of like videos of 13-year-olds dancing to some shitty fucking pop song. But there's also a lot of really, really good like dark humor, and some of it's kind of been, whitewashed since then. But that market is still there. The market for like edgy, real, like sort of balls to the wall comedy is still there. But these big corporations, these big tech companies, those are the ones that, in my opinion, are really kind of suppressing that and keeping those people quiet and keeping those people disconnected,
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, man. I think, I was just thinking about the recent thing where now you can't say, I guess I'll spell it out lest we get deplatformed, the GROOMERS, right? You're not allowed to say that anymore.
Just call them predators.
Yeah, there we go. We can say, we'll say predators. By the way, the new Predator movie fucking sucked.
Yeah, great.
Watch it. Boring.
Oh, actually, no, the new Predator movie was okay. Yeah. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it sucked. I thought it was fine.
I just thought it was boring. I was like bored the whole time.
I had the option to watch that one or watch the original, and I picked the original.
Oh, well,
that's
dude.
a good call.
I mean, of course, that's crazy. We all know where it's at.
Getting back to these predators, aka GROM, they, you're not allowed to say the word anymore. Like, to what Andy's saying, I think it is definitely like the people that are controlling at the top down, because they're the ones that are limiting it. Like, you could have a couple of people whine about it, but I think that in a way also, it's like when you talk about comedy, you talk about being aggressive and like, being funny. The whole thing with the GR is it started off with people saying like, this is a problem, but then very quickly you saw people run with it as a joke and like start to make fun of it and start to use this and apply it in different ways and in different memes. And I think that's where you see them step in, because they know that comedy, like once you start to mock something badly, that can take on its own life, as we know, and really make more of an impact than just trying to really debate it in a factual sense or try to like win people over with an argument. Because if you start to feel stupid and simple arguing a point, you're not going to argue that point anymore because you don't want to feel stupid and simple. And by killing off the comedy that can attack these kind of the idiotic concepts, they're eliminating the ability to make people feel dumb. And that's a victory.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is like the third time it's been brought up in the comments. Damn, there are crickets in the background of one of you two.
It's not me.
It's me. It's me. My setup is in my garage, and I live like out in the boonies. So.
Like you have crickets, and I'm getting trash in the comments, being like it's for your jokes. Like fuck you guys.
Exactly. This package of 3 comics and all.
By the way, out of the 3 of us, this is for your audience. Out of the 3 of us, I am the most white trash person here. So if there's like crickets, if you hear a meth pipe in the background, it's me.
Andy, it's fair.
Yeah.
When are you going to start spitting chaw into a cup? Are you treated to that? I want to see it dribbling down the middle of your beard at some point.
Give me a few minutes. I'll get there.
There's also a great thing where like memes, right? Like you were just saying, like Brian, like memes are a great way to attack because they're quick to the point, easy to read, and then just like art imitates life, dude. I swear to fucking Christ, I was in it with this other fucking dumb lefty on Twitter the other day, and he's like, meme, like the right, which we're classified as the right. The right says that the left can't meme, but what they don't understand is, and it's like this whole thing, like it's like they just can't read, and it's like you're doing the meme, like you're doing the fucking meme of like it's too long, and then I hit him with the like I'm not reading all that shit. And then he comes back with a giant thing. I'm like, you're not getting it. I'm just going to keep doing this to you because I don't respect you. Like, right. That's the other part of this, too, that they don't get, like, that whole side doesn't get, is, like, I don't want to have a discourse with you because you're retarded and I don't respect you. As like because you're not gonna have honest conversation with me. I know that. Like I'm too old for that now, for that grift of like like that trick that you guys are gonna try to trick me into like believing that you're here to have an honest, actual conversation to further both of our worldviews. Bullshit. Yeah. You're here to perpetrate nonsense propaganda on me, and I'm smarter than you. So I'm gonna be like, nah, I don't want to do this either though, because I'm not gonna waste my time. So I'm just gonna send you a picture of a dick. Because like that's what that's what it's worth to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not worth this whole back and forth. It's not worth the time. Yeah. So hit him with the fucking meme and move on.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I'm gonna start sending people dick pics. I'm stealing that.
Well, there is something like 4chan gets a bad rap and 8chan and all that, but there is something to them.
You're talking about the hacker 4chan, right?
Yeah, hacker 4chan. The 4chan channel, like the whole internet community. They have really encapsulated the perfect sentiment of these people cannot take a joke and they cannot stand it if somebody doesn't take them as seriously as they take themselves, right? Like that what drives people on the left more crazy than anything. And there is a simple beauty to that, just rubbing in their faces how crazy they are, and then just watching them unspool themselves, and with there's no self-awareness there. Of, I'm being pranked here. Like, I should probably rethink or stop myself. Like, it's like an inability for them to even stop.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it, because you're right. They don't even understand. Like, they're saying we're trolls, and then we're trolling them, and then they don't understand that they're being trolled.
Right. You're playing the troll whistle, and then when the trolls come rolling up and start masturbating on your front porch, then you don't realize, you know what, I blew this whistle on myself, and I'm not helping to disperse it because I'm like, they're sprinkling breadcrumbs everywhere. You can't stop eating.
But obviously, the biggest hurdle we're having, though, is like straight censorship.
Yeah. Like,
we're just getting deplatformed. like voices. I mean, how many times is fucking Toad from Power TikTok Twitter?
How many times Reed covered Al? He's like, every other week, he's like, I made a new account. And I'm like, I'll follow it, but I don't know why I'm going to bother. It's just going to be a waste of my time here.
Exactly. It's like, and that's their weapon, right? It's like literal censorship. Mm-hmm. So how do we combat that?
I mean, you had asked earlier if there's going to be a trend back the other way, and I think that there is. Like, I think that especially coming out like before the show started, we were talking about, you guys said, we're talking about comedy and how it's so difficult right now to make comedy and have it resonate, especially with people on the other side of the spectrum. And I was saying that I think it's something where so many people out there are just devoid of any sense of reality and understanding of reality. And if you're devoid of reality, you have no context in which to understand the joke. Like, half of humor is absurdity. You're taking an absurd concept and putting it and juxtaposing it with a reality, or making it so that it's an extension of a reality and a symptom of what's going on to point out how absurd it is and how crazy it is. And if you don't know what reality is, how are you going to get the fucking joke? And I think that's where we're at. But at the same time, some people are breaking out of that cycle because it was so intense and so in depth the last couple of years with COVID and the lockdowns and the wokeness and censorship. And people are still seeing, notifications on their websites, on their Facebook, if anything's posted about COVID with misinformation. So people realize, like, shit, we have been controlled and lied to. Like, my reality of understanding and trust has been shattered. And I think with that, you're going to see a return to comedy in its most like true sense. And a lot of people are breaking out of that mold. Well,
and I want to kind of add on to that. It's not going to be an overnight thing. Just like the way that we got from sort of like the late 90s up until like, I don't know, 2009, 2010, whenever they started to really kind of shit on comedy. But they like, it wasn't an overnight thing getting to that point, Mm-hmm. And so that backwards trend, it's going to take some time. It's going to take allowing sort of the market of ideas to work, and people who like good comedy need to support good comedy. They need to go out there and go to go out to comedy shows, go out to open mics, like go out to I said open mics, that's as far as I got, but but like go see comedians, go buy their fucking merch, like go, I don't know, follow me on TikTok or some shit, like
yeah, but like the other problem is, like you're saying, go see shows, which is like great, but it's like the Stand in New York is great, right? Like they're really good with like, they don't give a fuck what you, as long as you're funny, like that's cool. But like a place like the Cellar, which is like a staple of like comedy, and they've shifted. Like if you hear Big J talk about it and like other very established New York comics, they're like, it's not what it used to be. If you hear old stories of the Cellar, it was like fucking chaos. Like, the back table, people are fucking, you have Patrice O'Neal back there, Jim Norton, Bobby Kelly, Keith, Rich Voss, Bill Burr, Kevin Hart. They're all back there calling each other fucking crazy shit. And no one cares because it's funny. And then you go up on stage, you fucking crush 15 minutes at the Cellar. You say crazy. Patrice would say crazy shit on stage. Crazy shit. And he's funny. No one cared. Now it's just like you go, like we were talking off air before we started, Andy, you and I, like we were talking about, like you go up there now and it's like, if you want to go up there and try to do like an edgy, like even mention like Germany or Hitler or like anything, people are like, automatically. Like, you don't even know where I'm going.
Which was 99% of my comedy. Was just talking about Hitler.
Just people shaking their heads.
People didn't get the joke because I'd be like, man, Hitler was great, right? And nobody got the joke. I said it in a really serious tone.
You guys don't get it? I was being facetious.
Yeah, well, I walked up and I like rubbed my hands together and said, folks, I want to tell you about my friend Hitler. Yeah, people weren't into it. My comedy career went nowhere.
Well, I mean, do you think also like there's something with the audience that the audience is going to be less receptive to? Like they're coming in judging and they refuse to acknowledge any aspect that they don't agree with, right? It's automatically not funny if they don't already agree with it. But at the same time, a lot of comics, I think, have also adjusted the way in which they tell jokes, not only self-censorship, but also trying to be overtly political, where there's only a couple of comedians in history that can pull off political comedy in general and do it well to the point where at least one side of the spectrum is going to hate them. But even if it's just preaching to the choir, I think you're already making yourself unfunny, because so many times, like the Trump era, man, so many times you can see the punchlines coming, because there's only one way in comedy. If there's only one way a joke can work out, and that's the way that's politically acceptable, how is it going to be funny? How is it going to be original? How is it going to come out of left field and surprise you? And so many comics, I think, are writing jokes to make a point rather than actually to be funny and explore where it could go that's not in their agreement spectrum.
I mean, Brian, I'm sure from California, you see this all the time, but I'm right by Philly. I'm in New York a lot and like you see like comics will write, they're writing for like their peers. They're not writing for the audience. Like, even like woke audiences, whatever, they're kind of over the Trump shit. like the Trump jokes. Like they're like, okay, what else you got? It's been 5 years. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's
how
like you
much?
see the Daily Show on Comedy Central got 6 Emmy nominations, and you're like, for what? Like for fucking what? But yeah,
Yeah.
to your point, I mean, it's you. Yeah, you get worn out in it. It's like there's that old joke like Colin Quinn was always known as the comics comic. Like the audience is like him, but the comics like he was a comics comic. Yeah, now they're just writing for other comics that are woke as fuck, and the audiences. I mean, I haven't looked to see if there's been a return to comedy clubs as far as pure numbers of people going out to comedy clubs, or if that's kind of been in a decline. Because people are sick of it. And, just like you're seeing Disney stock go down, you're seeing the Buzz Lightyear, like all these shows are getting canceled off Netflix, like Queer Force, the comedy cartoon show about an all gay CIA operative group canceled because nobody watched it. So I also wonder if woke comics, are people even going to go see woke comics anymore? Or are they tired of laughing along and clapping like seals?
Yeah, you again, you really see it a lot in the cities, and like you said, the punchline is from a mile away. It's like, and Trump, and you say it a minute beforehand, and they're like, and Trump, right? And you're like, yeah, no shit, because you're a fucking hack. It's like you're a hack, and you have no creative thought, and you're also afraid to maybe speak outside the like. We're supposed to be counterculture, so we should be, if anything, pro-Trump. Like, and for joke purposes, like on stage, be pro-Trump on stage. Like, we shouldn't be shitting. Like, but that's not how we are anymore. Now it's complete 180. That now it's like the culture. Now it's the machine instead of the counter machine. Like Rage Against the Machine, right? They're like fuck Trump, but like Biden's a hero, or whatever. It's like,
well, it's Johnny Rotten from Sex Pistols. He's one of the few people that I think really get it. As far because I'm a huge fan of like punk rock. I love punk rock, love the Ramones, love Sex Pistols, Descendants, all that shit. But like Johnny Rotten, he came out in favor of Trump, and people were like, "What? How can a punk rocker be pro-Trump?" And I'm like, "You mean anti-establishment? You dumb motherfucker!" Yeah. Like that's what Johnny Rotten is. Johnny Rotten fucking understands it, and it's like, I mean, I don't know if you got the guy drunk and he was honest with you, he might not be like, "Yeah, I don't really like Trump," but they hate Trump, and that's why I said that, because fuck the establishment and fuck all the authority. Like he's an anarchist,
I'm sure you guys saw the Roger Waters CNN spat he had with that with that dude
and everything.
Yeah, when he just came out and he was like, Biden's a war criminal. Like they're all war criminals, and the guy was like, how can you possibly say that when we're the liberators? And he's like, liberators? He's like, you guys are fucking monsters.
Yeah, that was refreshing. But that is, also in a way, is that where we're going? Like, are people finally going to step up? My dog's outside yakking at the gate. Are people?
All right, nobody shit on me for my cricket.
Well, I had to mute it. My kid was in the other room. She just got home from daycare, and she's like,
"Oh, dude, we're all dealing with stuff. I have my wife's fucking trying to go to bed because she had a long day at work. Like I'm trying to whisper so I don't get fucking yelled at. Fucking crickets are going off. Dogs are barking. This is fucking chaos. I'm a real cuck. Anyway, go on.
but like you're saying, right? If you're not allowed to be counterculture, like that's everybody's accepted as like the people that are hashtag resist are the most, as we know, censorship laden, authoritarian worshiping. They own the entertainment, they own the tech companies. But I think that's where, for me, I'm like so white pilled on this concept, because I think that when the culture is dominated 100% by authoritarian, leftists, as it has been for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Now you're going to see a real counterculture ride up, even if people don't necessarily agree with it. Like you're saying, maybe Johnny Rotten doesn't really love Trump, but he's like, screw it. That's the anti-establishment guy. Let's go. Anarchy in the UK. The next generation, man, they might be like, fuck it. I grew up under the boot of progressivism. And now just to go against it, because my parents are, because I'm being taught this, because my teachers are, because the entertainment is, now I'll go any other way. And that's what I'm excited to see, is where that any other way is going to end up.
Well, that makes me excited, but it also kind of makes me nervous, because I'm like, well, what's to like the uninitiated, like what's the polar opposite of Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden? To somebody who doesn't know like what we know as libertarians, like they might think George W. Bush is the opposite, And so what, like, I see what you're saying, but what kind of makes me nervous is what if we get this huge wave of like new neocons, you know?
Right.
Oh, because they push so far counterculture wise. They're like, war's pretty cool,
that
right?
they're going to be like, oh, you know what? I fucking love Ronald Reagan. I fucking love George W. Bush, you know? That's what makes me nervous.
Tim Dillon was saying something interesting on Rogan, and I mean, now he's like, now it's like being Catholic. Yeah, he said he's gay. He's like, now being Catholic is like the new, like, rebellious thing to do as a kid.
Wow.
Okay, so
well, a lot more. It sounds like a lot more chicks are going to be getting fucked in the butt then. get your anal lube. If there's a publicly traded anal lube company, that's where you make your investment. Which is good timing because monkeypox is taking out the gay orgies. So those anal lube people, they need a boost.
I mean, hey, as long as it's I grew up in the church. Like I went to all the church camps and stuff like that. My dad's a pastor, so as long as it's not me getting fucked in the ass again, and I'm fine with that.
That's the other thing
that
too.
Is
like
hillbilly shit.
It really is. Were there crickets in that too? Background of that.
Yeah,
the crickets actually it lives in his ass currently.
Yeah. That's what you're hearing. That's what my farts sound like.
Crickets just pop out. Traumatization.
He put the cricket in there to try to lure the lizard in there, you know. Then it's a good one from there.
Even like just the straight, like, again, like the obvious propaganda pushed by the media, like the monkeypox thing, right? Where they're like, dogs are getting it. I'm like, why though?
I had a funny take on that, by the way. I tweeted, I don't know if you guys saw, but I was just joking that the dog getting it, right? The story I saw was that a dog got it, but they made a point to say from a straight Parisian couple. Now, my joke is that, well, that's probably a tough way to come out to your wife. Because now, of course, she knows that you've been going to the gay orgies and maybe fuck the dog. So,
or they're like, the first cases of kids, and like, those kids are being sexually assaulted, right?
Right. Yeah, where are they getting from?
That's what's happening. Let's be clear. Okay. We're just gonna ignore that too.
This cricket in my ass is riddled with monkeypox. Let me tell you.
I think Rogan opening his club is what we need more of, but the problem is like everybody doesn't have Rogan money.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of these clubs are straight up like woke now. So our whole conversation for the last 27 minutes about we got to get out there and tell jokes and do comments, like, cool, but like where? Because if I can't go to like the X, Y, or Z, but I could only go here, it's like that limits you. And then now you're doing like venues, which I do a lot anyway of, but then like now it's like harder to craft an audience to your, you know. So that's what I'm saying. It's like we're constantly fighting this uphill battle of censorship, and I don't know how to beat that. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. Like we could do all this. We could keep talking about it. But okay, I get axed tomorrow, and then you get axed next week, and then Annie gets. It's like, okay, well then 3 voices are gone.
So, I've already somehow been permanently banned like 3 times on TikTok. They have an appeals process, so I guess that's good. But like on 3 separate occasions, I've opened up my app, and it's like, oh, you've been permanently banned. You know?
Did they tell you what for?
No, like they give you some super fucking vague thing. Like I don't know if you saw my one about the 4th of July. It wasn't like a sketch, but it was just me saying like, why do we celebrate the 4th of July if we go right back to boot licking on July 5th, you know? And that got flagged, and it was like, oh, you're at risk of getting permanently banned. This would be for the 4th fucking time, for violent extremism.
What?
Yeah, and it's like
violent extremism would be threatening to overturn the 4th. You could argue violent extremism would be to remove the 4th of July and replace it with Juneteenth. Wouldn't that be more of a violent?
People, I mean, we all saw the leak FBI thing, right? Where like the Gadsden, this flag right here is a fucking extreme, extreme image and stuff like. They even
talking about the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
Is now like terroristic or domestic terrorism.
That's what we are.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, I'm going to go watch The Patriot with Mel Gibson right fucking now because fuck them.
Dude, that's a great fucking movie.
Yeah, it is.
I don't care how inaccurate it is.
You're right. I mean, Mel Gibson was not in the war.
There are a lot of movies like that where there's like, this movie's inaccurate as fuck, but it fucking slaps. Fuck.
Yeah.
The best movies. Well, it's like, they can't do those tricks they did in Maverick with those fucking old ass planes, but shit, great movie. Loved every second of it. I know it's being propagandized every second, and I still love it.
Oh no, yeah, totally. Yeah, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
100% proud. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Awesome. give me that D-Day scene every day. That's a fucking amazing fucking scene.
And it holds up to today. I mean, in like any war movie that's come out since then, that opening scene on the beaches of Normandy Nothing comes close to that.
Dude, I remember watching the behind the scenes making of that, and they were saying that they measured the from the bunkers, the MG42s, from the bunker to the sand, and then they timed how long the shots would take, and they timed it perfectly, like the explosion in the sand, to actually
Wow.
it was like that's how detailed they were getting it, like
Wow.
to that. Fuck, I was like, come on, that's fucking nuts. I don't care. Yeah, sometimes I turn my brain off to obvious propaganda. I don't care. Like the NFL, I'm like, I know what's happening here. I don't care. Like, by the way, both the NFL's a weird organization where they like simp for the right and left, and no one ever talks about that.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? Because big
Blame
military,
both
they
sides.
have all of October is military month, or November is whatever, which one it is military month, right? They wear all the camo shit. They have they go extra hard. There's a service member every game doing for everything. There's flyovers every game, no matter what. That's all right wing, fucking propaganda bullshit.
Yeah,
and then obviously
stuff.
Yeah, and then obviously left wing is like, and the racism, kneeling, Kaepernick, right? So it's like, and then we argue just over that, but no one's like, we're playing both sides, you dumb fucks.
Yeah.
But they are, and I know that, and I don't care because I'm a dumb jock still who misses playing football, and I'm like, I need to watch this to get my aggression out so I don't punch holes in my wall, and I want to gamble. So let me watch football.
That is,
Yeah, I'd be
and
so
the
pissed if I
NFL
punched a hole in my wall. That's why I just hit my wife
thread
and
the needle.
kids.
Somebody fucking got a hole in the wall of the Airbnb over the Bachelor Party weekend, and I know who it was too. It was a big drunk fucker who like poked in the towel rack, being fat and stupid. But anyway, the NBA did not handle it well. Like you said, the NFL, man, they did thread the needle, right? It's like, JC's comment, all the commercials are woke propaganda, 100% there, 100%. But I think even that. Like I work with some, I do public relations for like my career, and I was talking to an ad agency client of mine about this, or two of them, about whether or not, number one, I was curious to see if brands would go hardcore on the 4th of July, because they used to do all the big push, right, about America, fuck yeah. I feel like they pulled back from that, but at the same time, I think they also are seeing the reports on like, Disney's results and Hulu, and how Hulu rejected ads from Democratic political candidates. I think you're going to see a lot of brands pulling back from a lot of the woke bullshit, because I think they're seeing it in the returns, and I think that they're reading the writing on the wall. But going back to the NFL, they've threaded the needle pretty perfectly, where they're pissing off both sides, but not enough that you stop watching, which the NBA didn't do. Like the NBA was so woke with the Black Lives Matter shit, canceling games, LeBron not playing for that one dude who was a sexual assaulting maniac with a restraining order against him that had broken into his girlfriend's apartment and then got shot. And they're like, I'm not going to play basketball if this guy gets arrested, But they had so much propaganda on the courts that I think they lost just a shit ton of viewers. Maybe they made it up in China, but like, I know I've stopped watching. I know a ton of people that just were like, I'm done with it. I don't give a shit enough about the NBA to continue watching when everybody's got, bullshit slogans on their jerseys. Yeah,
well, my dad stopped watching the NFL. He was like, I'm done. He's like, I just can't take it anymore. Yeah, he actually quit on the NFL. And I feel bad because, like, he was, I got my love of football from him growing up. And it's just like, he's like, I just can't, dude. He's like, I want to just watch the Giants lose. Which I'm a Giants fan. We suck, but like you can't do that without fucking being like every commercial is like a blended family now, and like that makes me sound like I'm being an asshole, but like I'm not. It's just not how like it is. Like there are some, and I'm not saying you shouldn't show that ever. I'm just saying like the obvious push for all that stuff. I'm like, I'm not. Come on, I'm not. I know what you're doing.
It's the non-organic nature of it, where you just, even if you're not intentionally trying, like you said, I don't give, I could give a fuck if you're gay, straight, trans, really, but it is odd when every single commercial is a black person and a white person, and they're gay or lesbian, and it's like in your face. Your point, you're like, I know the rough percentages of how many people are out there that identify as this, and it's not every person in a Wendy's.
Right? Like I'm like, just make the whole family black. Or Asian or Hispanic, like just do that. Just don't stop.
We know how hard it is to adopt. There's no way they could get these kids, and not an Asian. They're impossible to get.
A white baby? You look at least the milk. Black market milk. White baby. Yeah, it's just I just hate I hate being treated like I'm dumb. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's it's like every Marvel show is like, I don't know if you guys saw the She-Hulk. I'm not watching it. But
I'm gonna watch it before I do my mean age daydream Wednesday, just because I want to have a take on it and see how bad it is.
So I refuse to. I just don't give a shit, right? But there was a scene that was going around the Twitter, and it was like, She-Hulk was like, I can't control my rage because every day I'm a woman and I get cat. It's like this whole implying that the Hulk can't, even though the Hulk in technical comic canon can't even get a boner because he'll turn into a Hulk and beat the shit out of everything. So it's like, oh yeah, so he doesn't know how to control his rage, but you do because you're a chick. Shut the fuck up. It's like this again, like Star Wars, right? They're like, you guys don't like Rey because she's a woman. Oh yeah, we hated Leia. We fucking hated now my brain just blanked. That made me look like an asshole right now because I can't think of another female.
No, Leia's the only chick in the galaxy in the original. But like, Mon Mothma, nobody gave a shit about her.
No one gave a fuck. But like all the other cool female Star Wars characters, I'm like, yeah, they're all like, Ahsoka, all those cool characters. I'm like, yeah, they're cool because they have their own story arc of like trials and tribulations and overcoming adversity. And Rey, it was just like, she's a woman, so therefore she is, and therefore she knows how to use the Force and the lightsaber, because women are, and dudes are just fucking stupid, dumb men, and you guys don't, and you got to learn how to be fucking proper. And it's like, yeah, well, you're a dumb cunt, it's like, make a good movie, because it's like force feeding.
Yeah, well, it's like even going back to like, I'm sorry, Brian, do you want to say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, so the new Game of Thrones prequel show, Fire and
just
Blood.
Watched it.
Oh, did you? Okay, because I was curious to say, because I probably will try to watch it tonight. But it killed me with the Game of Thrones, the series. Right, it was one of the best series, obviously, when it was on the books. The women characters in that were great because they did have solid character arcs, and they did not remind you at any point in time until like the last season and a half that they were strong women and they were motivated and they were in a man's world. Then they literally, after it got off the books, these strong female characters you came to appreciate because they had arcs, they went through shit, like one chick was just like a fuck dummy, for 2 seasons and had to come out of that. But she had to come and grow as a character to become this awesome bad bitch. Now they have to talk about, sit down, how they're bad bitches in a man's world and how that demands respect. And it's just, you roll your eyes because it's like you're selling out what made me like him in the first place, which is I'm organically attracted to this character because I'm seeing her as a human overcoming obstacles instead of just being told she is a powerful woman and you have to respect that, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So sort of kind of that same thing with the Marvel universe. Like I love the MCU. Like I haven't seen She-Hulk yet or Miss Marvel. I'm going to watch both of them, and I'm probably not going to hate it as much as other people will. But I'm like a huge comic book nerd, and so thinking about the character of Black Widow in the Avengers, she is an amazing female character, and it's because if you go all the way back to Iron Man 2, like never before was there. Like you were saying, Brian, like, I'm a woman, therefore you must respect me. There was never anything like that. There was always an understanding that Black Widow operates differently as a crime fighter because she is a woman. She has different talents because she is a woman. It was not like that. I think the reason that, at least for me, that the reason I was so attracted to Black Widow versus like Captain Marvel is Captain Marvel got her superpowers and then just punched people in the face. There was no like building up to that. She didn't have to work for that. She just got hit with the fucking laser. But like Black Widow, she trained for years. She was put through grueling situations. She
implied rape.
Yeah, exactly. Like she went through horrible things, and she doesn't just go and punch people in the face. Her fighting is so specific to her. She jumps up, wraps her thighs around your neck. I fucking wish. And just like uses her body weight to fucking beat the shit out of you. But it's not just pow, punching you in the face. It's because she's different. She doesn't have the frame that fucking Tony Stark has. And so she has to fight differently, and
I agree.
Yeah. And that to me, I think that's using the differences that, women do have from men and sort of celebrating those differences. You know?
Shout out Jamie Smith, one badass. Well, you would know she's cool. If you're a badass female, you don't have to announce it. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And never once did Black Widow say, I'm a badass superhero. She was just like, yeah, let's get to work.
So Andy, I'm also a giant comic book nerd. I have a $30,000 CGC
I named 3 comics.
Comic book collection. Don't put me on the spot, bro. Spider-Man. So I love comic books, dude, and I loved the MCU when it first came out. But I feel like Reddit nerds took over the MCU, and they're like,
Mhm.
and now they make it like soy boy, and it's like that whole
Mhm.
like they could try to equate real life to Marvel. It's like so cringy, and you're
Mhm.
like, oh, this was cool, and now it's not. Now it's like you're ruining like this fucking douchey left wing man,
Yeah.
weak man is like ruining like. I saw another like someone posted a picture of like Captain America punching Hitler like again today. I'm like, it's just so
Yeah.
it's not the same. It
Yeah.
doesn't hold the same weight because
Mhm.
now like you're doing it because like that's the thing to do because you're like Nazis are bad. But it's just I know where you're coming from. It's not from the original 1941 angle.
Yeah,
Now,
but I
now
mean, in
it's now it's from
1941, they
2022
were-
where he's punching somebody that dressed up as Hitler ironically at a Halloween party, and then he tried to
Yeah.
get him fired
Well,
afterwards.
it's like in 1941 they were making a statement. They were saying "fuck this guy." They made a statement as a company, "Hey, we don't like Hitler." And now like that, it's such a cheap, coward, like pussy ass move for Marvel to make to reference themselves from 1941 and act like that's fucking brave. Fuck that.
Mhm.
They like the Marvel company, and I don't know if this has to do with ESG, which I'm not like an expert or anything. I've only barely like scratched
Everything
the
has to do
surface.
with ESG on some level now, so it probably
Yeah.
does.
And so, but it's like if anything, Marvel, you hate your fucking fans. You hate the people that built your company to what it is today. You fucking spit in their face. It's bullshit, And that's why, like, uh, going back to what I was saying about supporting comedy, support good comic books. Go out and buy Eric July's comic. Go buy I Saw Him #1. Like, go buy comics from companies that don't fucking hate you.
Well, sorry, go down. Nope, you're muted. Hold on, you're muted.
Thank you. Marvel and DC sales have dropped tremendously, like tremendous. And like I was an every week comic guy. I had my daily polls from the local comic book store. My locals. I would go every fucking Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever I had time. Pick up my Spider-Man, Batman. I had a good, and now it's like this is trash. This is trash. Again, it's like Superman's son is gay. Okay, well, is there a reason? Is there a story behind it? Does that improve the arc of the character? Oh, it doesn't.
Mhm.
Oh, so then why are you doing it?
And they canceled it, right?
Yeah.
They killed it off. Well, and also I was going to ask you about this. So, what do you guys take? And like I used to be a comic book guy, but I got out of it. When I went to college, basically because it was too much time and money. Once they started printing out the glossy paper, I was like, this is too much for me now. But DC canceled the new Batgirl movie. And I think that they're getting away from the new Supergirl movie as well. And, they just canned it. It was like a $90 million movie. They were like, fuck it. The new guy, because now it's Discovery Media that's running it. They just were like, nope, it's toast. Yeah, I know. I should just let him keep talking forever. We could just
We
his
should
voice
just be like,
over
oh,
crickets.
Interesting. I'm like, I'm
Just
so
like a kung
smart.
fu movie.
I'm
But
laying down
do
some
you
good
think,
points.
again, like, is the writing on the wall that they're like, yeah, you know what? Our plan of woking this shit up and putting female superheroes out to an audience that's still predominantly male oriented and trying to swap out and tell everybody that they have to be fucking ultra woke is not going to be profitable work for this anymore. I mean, that's a huge loss to take.
So there's Sandman, the Sandman show on Netflix.
I heard that was also like we're talking about ultra woke. Everybody's gay and multicolored.
So it's like they changed John Constantine to a chick.
I didn't even know
Because-
Constantine was related to that world.
Well, DC Sandman's
Yeah.
like I think was DC. So it's she was in that now, and then Neil Gaiman was like, well, we wanted a better representation of.
God.
Now I'm gonna get real nerdy with you. Andy probably knows this character is. Zatanna.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Zatanna is a female superhero in DC world. She's like a magician character. So she's like she's like a
Yeah.
So she's like essentially like a
Great
Constantine. Yes, great ass. So Constantine's like a neutral character, like an anti-hero kind of. She's she's like a legitimately good hero, and she's a great character. You have a character that already has a canon, that has a lore, that has a following, and you won't put her in just to prove a point that like I can change these characters. But it's like why? You have a great character.
Exactly.
I want to say
Well,
it
to the
was.
point. It does seem like they
was-
hate their audience. Like
Yeah.
you're doing something that is going to actively piss off your audience. Well, it's almost like the way in which so many people think, especially in the entertainment biz or on the left side of the spectrum. I think that their audience is not. It's like the Seymour Skinner thing, right? In The Simpsons, well, I can't be wrong. It's the children who are wrong. Like that all the time, though. They're like, it's not us. It's that these audiences are too stupid. And only if we educate them, they'll come around to our way of thinking and not just be angry that we fucked over the characters that they love for no good reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, you know, and you talk to a lefty and they'll be like, well, why does it matter if Batman's black? And you're like, you don't fucking get it, dude. I'm like, you don't get, because that's
if
not
he was always
his
black,
character.
It wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not his fucking, that's not because being an ultra billionaire black guy in the 30s doesn't make fucking sense. That's why. Right. It just doesn't exist. Like maybe there was one
sort
or two,
of
I don't know, but like
the sort of race swapping thing never, like that never bothered me like it's bothered some other people. And not that I don't think that there's an argument to be had about race swapping or about like sort of kind of being upset about that, but that's something that never really bothered me. But the one thing that has bothered me is the weird gender sexuality shit, because that's where like Superman's son being gay, like who is that? Well, okay, we know who it's for, but what does that do? You know, what, like Superman's never had a gay son, so then like why would you change such a huge thing about that character in a way that doesn't make sense? You know?
Yeah. So JC, I saw that comment that you just posted from JC saying that Disney doesn't care about market demand. They're going to go all in with ESG. I was just reading a story. There's a guy named, I think it's Dan Loeb, who just bought $1 billion worth of Disney stock. And now he's basically demanding some changes there using that $1 billion investment to try to change. I guess he's saying he wants change in management. He wants them to streamline what they're doing to try to become profitable again, because they have gone all in on ESG. Like their internal documents for their shareholders and from this meeting on executive hires and diversity, all ESG. But if it ain't profitable, it's not going to keep going. Like that is to me the great equalizer. Like you got to believe in the market in regards to, you know, it's about getting loans. It's about how these financial companies are interacting and funding. But if you're not making money, I don't care how woke you are, no one's going to lend you money. You're not going to be able to expand. You're going to have to change accordingly. And I think you're seeing it happen. But also, you know, talking about, you talked about Sandman and gender swapping. There has been a tangible war, right? And this has been ongoing, though, a tangible war on like the masculine figure. And I think that's a lot of what you see, too, especially when it comes to gender swapping or sexualization or sexuality swapping. It's trying to get rid of that predominantly masculine character, which, from a left-wing perspective, definitely is associated with right? So it's like, are you trying to basically eliminate that ideal man of the protector, the warrior, right? The muscular guy who works out, you know, and will step in front of the bullet to save his family. Are they trying to intentionally remove him from society as an ideal to try to eliminate, I guess, that threat and that relationship to the right side as being like, that's the dream. So I guess I'm more right wing than left wing, because I think that's an intentional thing.
Agreed. And by the way, if you talk to any chick and she's honest, she's like, I'd rather fuck an athlete.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, it's, of course, like, it's crazy that, like,
take it from the fat piece of shit in this podcast right now. That's true.
but like, even they would rather fuck a dude like you even over someone like who's like who does that? Any man who's like
a flincher, like George Michael and Arrested Development. You throw the keys.
Yeah, it's like around. no chick gets fucking her shit biological clock going for that.
Yeah, no one's refilling a lake with their vagina juices for Skinny Magoo.
No, it's fucking it's obvious that they're trying to level the playing field for themselves to be like, no one wants that. I'm like, no, we do.
No, yeah.
Like, of course you do.
I wonder if that component's going to come into play too, right? You got female gamers now. You got female collectors. Are they going to want to say, we want muscular men in the comics? Do you think there's any aspect of that that's going to come in? Like, boy, I mean, look, we all
chicks
know.
Are have growing up, you read comics.
First. You like the big titty ladies, like Rob Liefeld. He drew some of the biggest titty, skinniest chicks ever. They're great. You know, I love the X-Force for that reason. But you know, I wonder if these chicks coming in. A lot of them are hotties. They're not going to be banging the super geeks necessarily. I wonder if they're going to be like, we want our masculine men back in comic books.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Is like all these hot chick streamers that are all on TikTok and shit, and all these dudes who follow them, because it's not. The fact that they make it out to be like, we have a large following of a young female audience. No, you don't. No. You have a large following of over 30 men who are jerking off to your tits.
Of course. The amount of controllers these guys must go through, just covered in lotion.
Crazy.
I mean, shorting them out is really
It's awful.
Jergens everywhere. Just jamming in. You can't your A button. Can't jump. Can't double tap. Can't do shit.
It's like a Benny Hill. Every time they try to answer the phone, it's squirting out of their hands. You know?
Yeah, I'll call you back. I'll just call you back. But like those chicks aren't fucking those dudes.
No.
But like they're leading them on to believe, like, right, like this is hot to you. Like if you follow me, like I'll fuck you. It's like no, because they're gonna turn around and fuck the fuck like I don't know, Matt Stafford, or they're gonna turn around and fuck an NFL quarterback. They're not gonna turn around and fuck you, you simple loser, like you idiot. They're just getting your dough because they're not turned on by you. They're not turned on by a guy being like, please notice me, please, can you notice me? It's so fucking lame, dude. Like.
I hate simps. I just fucking hate them.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my wife and I, we've been together. We just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary, but we've been together for 13 years. Thank you. And I mean, I'm amazing. But like, she's my best friend in the whole world. She gave me 3 of some of the most amazing kids in the world. Like we've been through some fucked up shit together. We've been through some really awesome shit together. And it's like, shit, I kind of forgot where I was going with this. Just going off.
You hate Sims.
Sorry about that.
Sims.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I knew somebody who was kind of in the OnlyFans world. And, I think she was kind of, because I mean, I am a fat bearded dude. I'm a fat bearded libertarian. Like just me saying that, everybody knows what I look like, you know? And so, yeah. It's so, I think she was kind of expecting me to treat her a certain way, like a simp. And I'm like, I've been with my wife for 13 years. We have kids. We've been married. We have a mortgage. Like we have car payments. Like, no, I don't give a fuck about you. You know, no. I lost my virginity to my wife. I don't give a fuck about you. You know, in that regard.
Yeah, that humble brag doesn't sound so good anymore, does it, Adam?
No, it doesn't. That's just maybe.
Then he got 13 years, lost his virginity to his wife. Ooh, yowza.
No, it's like, I mean, I'm married. I'm married too. But it's like that thing of like, you know, it's like, yeah, I don't have to earn. Like, I'm not trying to fuck you, so who cares? Like, I'm just gonna treat you as you are.
Yeah.
And even by the way, even if I was single, I'm 35. I've lived enough life to be like, I'm still gonna treat you. Hey, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not, again, because I'm not like a young kid trying to get pussy. So it's like that's done. Like,
well, I think she was expecting me to be like, oh, what can I do? Oh, what do you want me to think? And I'm not like that. You know, like my brain doesn't operate like that. I do that. I do that to some extent for my wife, but there's 13 years of history and 3 children and marriage and, you know, car payments and a fucking mortgage and all that shit. All that's built into that simpness, but just for some other person, no, fuck that.
No, they should have a new reality show called The Simple Life, The Simple Life.
Yeah,
and it's just a bunch of dorks. And again, it's like a reality show about, you know, dorks trying to get laid from their TikTok. What do you call them? Twitch girls. That'd be awesome. They could do like a Twitch Bachelor called The Simple Life.
That's actually a good idea. Jamie's in Reno. I went to a bearded guy that I thought was Andy Koons. Say hello. It wasn't Andy. There were a lot of bearded guys there.
Dude, when I got to Reno, I thought I was at fat bearded guy Mecca. It was fucking ridiculous, man. Like, I texted my wife whenever I got there. I was like, this is like my pilgrimage. I was like, everybody here looks like me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. I wasn't there. I couldn't go. I was working that weekend. But yeah, no, I could only imagine the smell of Reno that weekend was just.
It was a lot of unwashed bodies for sure. But also just a mass amount of COVID. Everyone got COVID there. I got COVID.
It all smelled like weed.
Dave didn't even go when he got COVID. Oh no, Dave was in Reno. Sorry, he wasn't at the. He was at the next.
Traveled in the libertarian pipelines. It just hit everybody. It's like a fucking actual virus.
But circling back to comedy, man, real quick. So, you know, we're seeing this again, the war on masculinity, the war on the woke is pushing through. We're talking about what spaces would be open. Is Twitch less regulated than like a Twitter or a
didn't Andrew Tate just get kicked off that, or he kicked off YouTube?
I think he just got. Well, I know he's off of TikTok. I don't know if he's off of Twitter. I don't
I'm
know.
wondering if Twitch is a place that you could do a little bit more comedy and not be censored quite as much, but I just don't know. Because I mean, it's also like the server, like what the server hosting is also a big threat, right? Like Amazon, Alex Jones. How do you not get Alex Jones? Where even if you build your own media empire, or Owen Benjamin, even if you build it out where you've got a subscriber base, you're doing your own shows, you're an audience. That's the worry. It's like being deplatformed from the servers, which is why I thought Trump should have used his power and money, whatever he has, to create a new server farm that he said, like, all right, you won't be deplatformed off of this. Because he got fucking deplatformed, from being able to host his server shit.
Do you guys know that fake mask website, like fakemask.com or whatever the fuck? I have a few of them. They're great. They're just like there's mesh, and so they're fake masks.
Yeah.
But that was like they call it the incognito one, because like I didn't want to fucking when I was flying and traveling for comedy, I didn't want to deal with the real fake one they had, because the real fake one they had was just the strings of the mask, but nothing here. And people would get fooled by it all the time. Like, no, it's clear. It's like, all right. But like, I don't want to deal with that shit. So I just got the one with mesh. But like, they got removed like 4 times. Like, they had to keep changing the name of their website from like fakemask.com to like USA Fake Mask to like Fake Mask USA, Fake Mask USA, we love America.com.
Yeah, it's like that.
They change your name so many times. They sound like a Chinese guy, like trying to sell an American thing to an American dude. Like, Chinese, like America #1, go fireworks,
Right.
4th of July.
I think that's like, talking about where can we find like a safe space to do comedy? I don't know, something like that. Offshore, a new server system, a new place. And also wonder, like, for comedy, Branson, Missouri has always been kind of like a joke, because it's like where, old comedians go to die and do comedy for old people. But shit, man, maybe LA and New York aren't going to be the hubs. Maybe big cities won't be the hubs for comedy anymore. Maybe it'll be a Nashville, even though that's getting woke. Maybe it'll be more middle America, where comics say, congregate now and just say, fuck the coast.
I don't know.
If you want to do real comedy.
You know why? It's not about the comics. It's about the people going to this. And there's just not enough people. And like, it's just the money. Like, think about it. Like, Rogan doing his shit in Austin. Austin's rich enough.
Yeah,
where people could afford that shit, right? Probably. I'm gonna say, especially the surrounding areas of Austin, people will travel for sure. But think about like if you go to like Branson, Missouri. It's Missouri, right? Branson, Missouri.
Yeah, Branson, Missouri. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
Right
pretty much
Table
right. That's like a fucking vacation. That's like a vacation place. That's like a touristy place, right? So now you're just dealing with tourism. So now you're dealing with only certain times of the year, and on top of that, you're dealing with like, again, what's the fucking type of audience you have? Like young, old, gay, straight, just male, female, like what's the fucking population like? And then again, what's the average income of Branson, Missouri? Right, like so are they gonna be able to afford to go see Rogan and then fucking Mark Norman and then Big J and then fucking Dave Chappelle? No. So you have all these comics here for such a small market where so that's why, like, I thought during COVID, like the New York and LA were gonna crash for comedy too, and they did, but they didn't. Like, they hung on like Vegas and AC did the fucking recession. They're like, no, we're still here. Like, we took a beating, but like we're still, because that's the hubs of people. Like, I do spots at the Stand, and like there's still, it's packed, and there's a bunch of different people in there. Like, the very diverse crowd, because that's where everybody is. No one's going to fucking Branson, Missouri. That's the problem.
True. Well, maybe as they get priced out of the marketplace, we go find the new city hubs, the affordability with the inflation going on. Now, you're probably right though. But yeah, I don't know. I was just trying to think of a way in which you said there can be a savior for comedy outside of just like a rich guy like a Rogan or a Chappelle, just saying, fuck it, I'll just open a theater somewhere and run it how I want to run it.
It has to be in a city. Like, as much as I don't want that to be, or like right outside of it, it has to be by a hub. It can't be in the middle of it. Just can't. Won't be affordable, right? Like, again, no one's gonna keep going to these shows. Like in New York, like. And they're also cheaper in New York because there's so many people going to these shows. Like, these clubs know, like, $20, whatever. Like, we're doing 17 shows tonight. Like, we have 4 rooms. Like, the Stand has 2 rooms, up and downstairs, right? So, like, when Skanks is doing their show upstairs in the upstairs room, downstairs Berg is doing his fucking show, Frantic.
Yeah,
so they have
exactly.
Everyone's making money, and then the Cellar has 2 rooms, I think, or 3. Like, I mean, if you look at the store in LA, they have 4 rooms or 3 or 4.
They've got the main room, they've got
Belly and the OR, right?
Upstairs room. Yeah.
That's why.
So, you're right, man.
There's so many fucking people. It's a bummer.
I hate to go out on this podcast saying you're right is my last words, but like I said, I have a hard out because I gotta my wife had me being gone all weekend, and then I was like, bad news, baby, we got to delay dinner. I got to do a podcast the day I'm back. She's like, you are a fucking cunt. Thank God you're such a masculine man that I can't leave you.
No, that's cool. We could wrap it here. Let's just give our plugs. Brian, you got to go first. So give your plugs, Brother Bear.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Well, yeah, at Brian McWilliams on Twitter. I am one of the hosts for the Lions of Liberty podcast. I do Mean Age Daydream is the political one. The Boring, BOHRING, is the pure comedy one that comes out every other week. So, yeah, Mean Age Daydream weekly, every other week for the other ones. And yeah, awesome. Love being on with you, Adam. This has been a good group, by the way. I'll have the three of us will re-coordinate on my show, and we can do it all again because it's been fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny. Like every libertarian comic has a comedy podcast also. If you notice, like Dave has Gangs, you have Boring, I have
burned out just talking about politics, man. You're like, I need a fucking other outlet. I'm going to lose my goddamn mind here.
Oh, dude, I'll tell Neil sometimes because Neil doesn't do anything. My co-host doesn't do anything political, so sometimes he'll like go down political. I'm like, shut the. I don't even want to fucking talk about it. Shut up. Unless you're gonna make this the funniest thing ever. Shut the fuck up. Andy, where are you at?
All right. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Andy Koons. That is Koons, just like right there. You can follow me on TikTok. It's at Andy Koons, Koons. My best friend Spike Cohen has called We Love the State arguably the third best podcast on the market. So I'm inclined to agree with him. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, Spike's dead to me. He never said about my podcast, so he's been on this time. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. You guys know where to follow me at Adam Nutter. Go follow Cult of Us, youtube.com/Cult of Us. Subscribe to me, rate, review, all that great shit. Subscribe to my Odyssey, odyssey.com/Adam Nutter. All right, guys, again, thank you so much for coming on, and I will see everybody later. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG at Adam Nutter, or Facebook and TikTok at Adam Nutter Comedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.